Msunechi. You heard from me before, but I'm speaking now on MUTA, the village. It was pretty vague at the time because I wasn't sure exactly what direction I was going, but Dauphin, her speech is exactly what I'm speaking on, the power of social communities. Um, so one disclaimer, I wrote quite a lot, but I know that we have limited time, so I'm shortening it. So if you see me pause, it's because I'm shortening some things. But let me begin. As some of you may know, I graduated from Howard University in 2014. I'm on my way to Tufts University for my master's degree this fall. And through my experiences with children in Washington, D.C., I knew that I wanted to enter a career with low-income urban minority youth, but I wasn't exactly sure how. So for the past year, I've been volunteering through AmeriCorps, which is the Domestic Peace Corps, and I was a reading tutor in a Washington, D.C. school called Savoy Elementary. And Savoy is in one of the worst neighborhoods in not only Washington, D.C., but the United States. It was huge, high poverty and high crime. It was one of those areas that you see on TV in the horrible Tyler Perry movies that I despise so much. But anyway, it was one of those neighborhoods where you really do see people doing drugs on every corner. You really do see shootings all the time. It's one of those areas where you hear about on the news over and over and over again. And my kids came from that area. So one thing that I really enjoyed about working in this school is that there was a village in this area. Every child in my entire school, and there were about 400 children, every child knew every other child or had come in contact with them. They greeted each other in the hallways with hugs and hellos. They played together despite age or grade. They rode to school together or walked home together. They called each other cousins despite an absence of true relation. And of course, they knew everyone's business. They looked out for each other and held each other accountable for their actions. But this went beyond the children. A quick example. I had one student, a kindergartner named Demaje, and this child was absolutely adorable. He was tiny, only about that big, and he had a sweet little high-pitched voice, but he was an absolute terror, at least for me. He truly hated me, honestly. Every time I picked him up to do his reading, he would throw the worst tantrums. He would cry and refuse to do any work, and he would give me a look that no 5-year-old should be able to give someone. And I struggled. I would dread picking him up, praying that he would be absent, and I begged my supervisor to replace him with someone else, but she refused, telling me to try new strategies. But nothing worked until the other staff started getting involved. There was an older janitor named Mr. Miller who knew Demaje's grandmother. And when he saw Demaje acting out, he would come over to me and reprimand Demaje. And he was actually serious. He would walk around the corner and come back and peek around to make sure that he was actually doing what he said do. There was another woman named Miss Bess, and she was the same way, except Miss Bess was actually really scary. I was afraid of her myself. And Demaje, this 5-year-old, would continue doing his best because he knew that other people were looking out for him. By the end of the school year, he had learned so much. He had come to me not even knowing his alphabet, and by the end, he was reading small books. And he told me he loved me, even though he hated me before. But the people in this school, despite their poverty and crime that they had lived in and around, they were, again, a village for each other. This village was a parent. It was an unspoken promise. Many parents would not have been able to raise their children alone. This village was necessary, even crucial to the community. When members of the community pulled together their time, their talents, and their resources, they created a place where there was strength, warmth, welcome, safety, and a sense of belonging. This was their village. So what does this have to do with MUTA youth? Well, back home we have a village, similar to the one I just described. Villages where the general interests and needs of the people are met, where strengths are important and weaknesses diminish. This village mentality, however, is hard for us to accomplish here in the States. We are spread out across not only states, but the entire country. And even those of us who live relatively close together cannot often see each other. We don't often pause and stop our hectic and even busy lives to create the village that could help us so much. Phone calls go unanswered, see you soons become see you nevers, and emails go ignored. So, similar to my students in DC, those who benefit most from the village mentality are the youth. Those of us who are still trying to make our way and figure things out for our lives. And unfortunately, America is one of those places that stresses the importance of diversity while pushing one set of beliefs, ideas, and cultural norms on its people. Though many of us here have made lives in the United States, we have many differences. And to have a village that puts us at a risk of being strictly American is wrong. So what can be done? How can we recreate our village? How can we communicate more effectively? How can we better share our strengths and better help each other to use our resources and talents? How is all of this applicable to us? I've heard a few stories just today about people coming from Nigeria to study in the United States. And they come here for 4 years. They can't get a job, so they do a master's. They can't get a job, so they do a PhD, and they still can't get a job. Now, maybe if we work together as a community, we have other people who have had the same issues, and they can give us ideas and resources, and we can learn together. But if we can't create this community, then we can't find solutions for ourselves. So, I have a proposal. And I believe that we should use social media to its highest potential. I've seen some people in the past 5 years. There was an organization on Facebook, Milo, which was the MUTA Youth Leadership Organization. And someone created this. We were talking for a little bit, but it kind of fizzled out. Recently, I've seen the hashtag Teeve Tuesdays. People are putting up pictures of themselves in traditional wear and explaining the importance of being Teeve and the importance of MUTA. I think these are really great strides, but we need to do more. Some may be doubtful about the use of social media, but let us think of the Arab Spring. This revolution in the Middle East and North Africa, specifically in Egypt, would have never been possible without the use of social media. The communication between young people, their messages about freedom and democracy, took place in large part through social media. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and blogs took the place of community forums or typical town hall meetings. Their knowledge and power spread and erupted online. So, if this example of social media can bring about such powerful change, why can't we, a much smaller organization and a group that is already bound off of a mutual interest of being Teeve in America and what that means, why can't we have conversations that are equally vital online? Through research, I found a website called lafora.com. It is a free online forum for the purpose of more seamless discussion. It can even work as a mobile app. There are chat rooms that can have multiple discussions at one time, and the typical discussions that are in text can be amped up by use of pictures and videos. I like the idea of social media for our group because, again, we don't see each other that often. Most of us only see each other once a year or once a month in our local communities. So, and even those young people, who do see each other, we're often broken up by age groups between the teens and the 20s and the 30s. So I will personally be responsible for beginning the process of starting some of these conversations on lafora.com. And I'll go about asking people for their contact information so I can sign you up if you're interested. But I want to make sure that others will join the conversation, and I hope you will. Thank you. Oh. Do I have any questions, or should we move on? Okay, thank you again. Oh, sorry. One question.
Yeah, I have a comment to make about that. I was talking to a friend I consider her a friend, even though we only just met today, because I felt like I'd known her. So my suggestion to you is like what you just talked about it takes a village. A lot of us don't really know each other. We see each other, but we're too embarrassed. Like after a while, like we see each other year in, year out, especially the young people. But then it's like, oh, they're not my clique, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, and we feel that way, and we don't stop to introduce ourselves. And I have been guilty of this, but I made up my mind. It's going forward, right? The way forward. So I made up my mind and I said, when I come here today, as embarrassing as it is, I'm just going to stop people and ask them. I see you all the time. I've been seeing you for like 5 years and I don't know your name. So I stopped a few people today and I asked them and I forgot and I had to go back and be like, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. What was that again? And I've been rehearsing those names in my mind. And for a lot of the youth, I have known their parents for years and years. For some people, as embarrassing as it sounds, for over 10 years, I've known their families and I don't know them. So please, young people, let us just stop this whole clique thing and ditch the embarrassment and just stop one another and ask, what's your name? What are you doing? And, how can I be a part of it? A lot of us, like you said, are here. We have all these degrees and we don't have a job, or then some people need some inspiration and we don't even know who we are, where we are, who's in the sciences, who's in the arts, who's in music, business, all of that. And we just see each other and we're like, oh, okay, it's that girl with the wacky hairdo, or it's that guy with the, whitewashed jeans or whatever labels that we put on people. But I feel like as young people, the time has come for us to introduce ourselves, tell our stories. Some of us, like I've lived here for 10 years, but I was born and raised in Makati and in the NKST church. So I write in Tiv, and I, know Tiv in and out with all the accents, and I'm teaching my daughter as well. So I feel like if we get together as young people, talk to each other, lay our differences and our pride aside, humble ourselves. It doesn't matter how many PhDs you have or if you've completed high school or not. Let's put that aside and talk to each other, get to know one another, and build our nation.
Msutio. Den mo kwa na gezwati. E hiven mo na gezwati ya mtsakene nyomge. Mba yemba gane ko va nye na hama weka ezwati hungumo. Mo yam lo kenchi vehi benweye. Kasimba yansi lu mbasi tindi gomno hihi apele kuwa ba mhenjene. Wadwati ngo hungumo ga. Na chimso walon kasi me vumbu kave vulu mbave tile iti kujimeve tive kwaye o yan toga sa nanalu akwase olo kwaye toga alo muta wakase ke gaya muta ngukwafu manfana ye ikase tive mba farm management nonso yan kwase tive ahi sule akọ chukun chaigbaga sule lo hinge zege sule alo kwaso yana ko dia ka e wan via ye ko na sule na whatsapp mapaga non sule dende be manum solum sha okaswa ilu kasivul nave jen igba hitiv gaye na ha ne kasev Kanene ko MUTA ve. MUTA one le diriga ye. Yam su ne chi.
Thank you. Thank you. This is an amazing day for me in the TIV community. Finally, I have seen the dream come true when our children are rising up and taking their places. Thank you, Dooshima. Thank you, Dooshima. Many a times, as parents, we always think our children are not capable, and we know when they are capable when they have done something wrong. Then we say, oh, we didn't know they knew so much. So with this having been said, what are the parents going to do to support every youth that is a TIV youth in America? One of the things that I will throw out there, Dolphin, you have fundraising ideas, and I will volunteer to be part of the youth because my name is Juliet, I'm youthful, I would rather hang out with these people, I'm going somewhere. I don't want to be looking at myself and thinking, hearing myself think through somebody. I would rather hear what they have to say. One of the things that I was thinking about before I even knew that this was going to happen, there are some children who have grown up in America, born and bred in America. They have no idea of their motherland, that's what they call it. I don't know why they don't say father. But they have never known anything about TIV. They can tell you the geography of the United States and repeat the syncretism of the American culture. They have no idea who they are. As they grow, which we have found out because we came here when we were young, we have found out that we don't belong to any other society but our original society, which happens to be the TIV. So I'm encouraging everyone, parent, to think of what it could be to make sure that your children, as they grow, at least they have an idea of what Benue State is. They have an idea of what a village is, not just hearing the words of it. So it is my prayer that the young people have started a walk, and let us join them and encourage them with whatever we have. Sometimes we need to send them to Nigeria so they can go to Benue State and spend some time. I know we will say we don't have money to do that, but there are programs. Dolphin has told us there are American kids, they can get funds to go overseas and spend some semesters over there. We have seen a great, we have two kids. One of them has been to Kenya, has been to other places, and both of them have been to Nigeria. They have been to the village. They have taken off their shoes to kick the ball with the other kids. They have taken videos, and we all go back and sit and laugh when they looked at their grandmother and their grandfather playing, what do you call that? Speak up. Da. And they always said they knew when their grandfather was losing to grandma. I said, how did you know that? They say, grandfather changed his face and got a little bit perturbed and will not let grandma go to do her chores until he wins. He wanted them to continue. So this is a challenge to all of us. We are a village raising our children. There are programs that parents know individually where we can send at least 1 or 2 children to visit Benue State, they can go to another school in Benue where people speak Tiv and spend that. That's another thing that I can say children are missing, speaking the Tiv language. I hope, Dooshima, you start teaching us how to do. I'll be in that class. You did good with that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.